the leaders. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. I am getting better and thank you so much. Please don't forget to give this video a like. When it comes to certain things, our leaders are quick in comparing us to Europe. Go to the West, go to this, they are not doing this. We are always comparing ourselves to other people. But when it comes to reality, that we need to live the life of these same people always compare ourselves to, it becomes a problem. Our brother live on camera just disgrace AU that always sit down to talk and do nothing. According to him, how do we relate as Africans when every country is holding on to its country's borders, do not want us to cross into other places? That is it by design? Is it that we have designed this to happen to ourselves, or other people design this, impose it on us, and we are helping them to keep these things going? This is a question that we always ask ourselves. That why is it that before I can move from one place to my brother's place, I have to go through a lot of pain, headache? Yet when you go to Europe, the same people that demarcated Africa, when you have one Schengen visa, you can move into any other country. Yet Africa, we do not have one single visa. Yet the African wants to be respected. That we need to do away with these borders. We need to unite, but we can never unite if we continue to be restricting ourselves from entering into other people's home.
We look at Africa and Europe. Mr. President, I don't know if it is by design or not, but how do we relate ourselves as African states? How many borders are closed with very stringent crossing conditions? Mr. President, look at us. Where do we have any African visa? Common visa? No. Look at Europe. When you get one Schengen visa, Mr. President, you can fly to any country in Europe. So many several countries. Visa. How do we want us to compete if each one of us has a rope tied to his own bacon? The President, it's not our wish, yes, but look at ourselves also. Are we the problem of ourselves, or is this problem caused to us to remain the state we are? And who is causing them? Mr. President, look at when I want to fly from Nairobi to Rabat in Morocco. And I want to go and see my brother, my African brother in Morocco, from Nairobi. I don't have to get a direct flight, it's not there. I have to go through, if the easiest, I have to go through Paris. I have to run from Nairobi to Istanbul. I have to fly from Nairobi to Amsterdam, or Doha, or Casablanca, or Jeddah before I get to Rabat, or Brussels. So, President, it's easier to fly from Nairobi to Rabat. But what are these things that are making us very much fragmented? Now, Mr. President, look at how Europe is. We want to partner with it. Very good, I agree. But they have a currency. They are doing very well in the euro currency and whatever. Mr. President, Africa. Those are the challenges we have. When we train our young boys in technology, take them to school properly, it's the same Europe, Mr. President, that will buy them to work with for them. Brain drain from Africa to Europe. Is it by design that we must remain down so that we don't compete properly? Mr. President, this is what we must think about. When I've been sitting here, Mr. President, I read a lot. I enjoy reading a story in this book called Things Fall Apart by Chinua Lumokal Patachepe from Nigeria. When you go to page 20, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, you will get a man called Okongo going to ask Nwakibie to lend him palm seeds to go and plant. The President, that Nwakibie tells Okongo, that since boys have come to me to borrow without paying back, since a naked the bat has learned to fly, since the man has learned to shoot without missing, a naked the bat has tried to fly without touching. The president, as Africa, can we learn to fly without patching? Because maybe one continent, one partner has learned to shoot without missing. That is me and that's us. As we partner with Europe, as we partner with EU, let us see our weaknesses. If we can bring them together, we can compete properly. But currently we are competing in a weak state, and that is not favorable for any business. Thank you, Mr. President. Majimbo Kalasinga from Kenya.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to, let's talk as parliamentarians, apart from the official framework. I would like to speak frankly more than anyone else. I don't think that what is existing between Europe and Africa is partnership, because partnership is based on balancing. What is there between Europe and Africa is a kind of exploitative relationship. It is one party is benefiting, the other one is not benefiting. This relationship is old. My colleagues have mentioned already. So in my country, Mauritania, for example, in our relationship with the European Union, we may present examples that apply to all Africa. So my country is in West Africa, and you know the challenges that this region is facing with regard to this relationship with Europe. The youth you have seen where the three countries have fallen as a result of European policies: Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Well, my country is not far from that. Chad has already been there. My colleague from Chad has already mentioned that. Well, and you see that the fear the country is facing when the last democratically elected government in Senegal has expelled French base that has been there for a century. My country is located in North Africa, and now we are exposed to a large number of migrants who are running away from their countries to Europe. And so the African countries are crying. Their countries wants to be like a police protecting European borders. And my colleague has just mentioned the Mediterranean Sea has seen large waves of migrants who died in the sea from Gambia, from Mauritania, from most of these countries. This expresses a structural economic crisis. There is exploitation of resources from the main partner, which is Europe. So there is an international powers represented by China, Russia, China, and United States. Europe has retreated militarily and economically. So now, what is required from this partnership? This partnership should be based on fairness. You know that Europe has committed a lot of mistakes. European countries made a lot of mistakes in Africa, and these mistakes must be corrected, and so that you can be able to build real partnerships. What is happening now is something that is doing by regimes that are not representing their nation, their people. So we require that we have real partnership that are based on sound basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Mr. President, we thank the speakers for their presentation. I think there will always be partnerships among continents, be it Africa, Europe, Africa, Asia. But with regard to the 25 years of partnership between Africa and Europe, the presenters reveal the state of play, and we know where the problem lies. The problem is internal. The problem is not Europe. Europe will always need Africa, and Africa as well will always need Europe. But we as Africans do have a problem. We are faced with challenges, and the solution to these challenges are neither in Europe, in Asia, nor in America. The solutions are in Africa. And if we are to effect change, then we should organize ourselves as Africans, build strong relationships. In the partnerships, usually we sign agreements. Our states, our presidents, our authorities usually do so to the detriment of their people. Let me take Senegal for an example. When the new authorities came to power, they cancelled all agreements that Senegal had previously signed with Europe on fishing, for example. But these agreements, we are all aware that these agreements were not beneficial to Senegalese people, given that since Europe is well equipped, they come with their vessels to Senegal to fish. But these agreements did not benefit Senegalese fishermen because they were no longer able to sustain their economic activities. What would follow is most of these fishermen are going to leave Senegal for overseas, and sometimes in very dire conditions. So all of this is to say that we have a problem in Africa, and the solutions to these problems should be African solutions. We do have the potential. We have natural resources. We have everything we need to develop Africa, to change Africa, to give Africa a facelift. If we do not use African solutions, we'll always be starting from scratch. We'll always face the same situations, experience the same challenges. These partnerships or agreements are based and adopted upon clear rules. But these agreements are not even respected. And who are the ones who do not respect these agreements? Generally, we Africans are the ones who don't. So, to conclude, we Africans have a problem, and this Pan-African Parliament should be a pillar because we represent the suffering African population. We represent Africans who are facing challenges, and we need to know what is our responsibility as Africans to address these issues. And this responsibility, the people who have the responsibility to address these issues are our leaders, and sometimes they are the ones who put Africa in such dire situations. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, the President of the Pan-African Parliament, and thank you for allowing me to take part in this very important debate. I just want to make a very short statement, and I would be very pleased to hear what our brother here has to say about it. For me, the relationship between Africa and the EU is very paradoxical. Paradoxical in the sense that I think Africa is a very important player in today's world, particularly in today's world. And the example I could give about this is the situation whereby one of the key components in today's industry is rare earth minerals. And those who have rare earth minerals today called the chun. We saw how China withheld rare earth minerals and the whole world shook. On the part of Africa, the importance of Africa is clearly demonstrated by the interest in which everybody in the world is having conversations with Africa. EU-Africa Summit, Russia-Africa Summit, China-Africa Summit, Japan-Africa Summit, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, you name it. Everybody wants to have a summit with Africa. Why? Everybody wants to have a summit with Africa. Why? Because Africa today is the last continent standing in terms of raw materials, in terms of resources which are required to make this world tick. And yet Africa gets a raw deal. Africa is treated as a child. Everybody dictates to Africa. And the last wake-up call we had, Mr. President, sir, was during COVID-19. Those who have got the wherewithals made vaccines, and they distributed them amongst their own people. Africa was the last to get these vaccines. We were promised that certain countries in Africa, I think it was Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, would be assisted to produce those vaccines. But as far as I am concerned, I haven't seen any progress in that respect. That is why I'm saying it's paradoxical. We are being treated as their poorer cousins. And for as long as Africa itself does not acknowledge that, we will go nowhere. We are willing to be pulled along in the dust instead of standing up and fighting for our rights. I think, with all fairness, the EU is not sincere in its partnership with Africa. If it was sincere, I think it would be investing in giving us resources so that we value add our resources, we beneficiate, and we stop exporting jobs. I think these developed countries should put their money where their mouth is. Then we'll know that they're being sincere. Thank you, Mr. President.
Honorable members and my fellow African brothers, power has never been of respect, has never been prayed over. Respect has been earned and sustainably emanate from your action. There is no European or American that will think in your interest. There's no European or African that will think in your interest. And the road that brought us this identity as Africans, let's for a moment pause and think. If Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Nailulu Kambarage went to complain to the same slave masters that please treat us different, what would have been the end result? We need to take first action. And they say the greatest threat to freedom is the absence of criticism.
As long as you are in the black skin, you are an African. And you have the right to move to anywhere in Africa. But other people, the so-called leaders who are in the guise of the black skin, are making sure that these borders, these restrictions keeping us apart. But these are the people who always sit down and be calling for reparation. These are the same people that are comparing our economy, comparing everything to the West. But they can never implement what these people are doing in their respective countries. Who has done this to us? We need to wake up as Africans and fight against these systems that are always chaining the African. A borderless Africa. We are one people. We need to be able to move among ourselves to see that we are one people. Before they came, we were not having these restrictions. Why would they impose these things? And we are still holding on to them in this 21st century. That's why always I say, until we are able to do away with this system that the oppressors kept or imposed on us, we can never break free. And if we continue to love these systems and the leaders under them, then we will continue to be where we are. Because they always talk about the problem, but they are never willing to do what is needed to be done, because they take orders from their people. And allowing us to be able to move among ourselves freely is going to affect them, because by then we see ourselves as one people and we will unite against them. So because of what these people will benefit from us, we still need to be doing this thing to ourselves in this 21st century. And when they go for this their AU and then SADC and whatever meetings, then they tell us, or they give us speeches and we are excited and we are clapping. These are not things that we need, because for over decades Africans and their leaders always have stories and their citizens have to listen. We need actions. We need to be able to move among ourselves. We need to be able to trade among ourselves. We need to be able to do things in common as Africans, so we will be able to develop. Our development can never come when we trade more with other people instead of ourselves, like they have made us for all these years. And everything that they have done is favoring them and not you, the African. And that is one thing that the African should know. And our unity will only come when we are able to free ourselves from these chains, because these borders that they've created are chains on us mentally. But we still don't see that we are in chains, we are in bondage. You see, when it comes to mental slavery, it is very dangerous, because even in the same suffering that you are in, you don't even see that you are suffering, because you're able to move freely. But mentally, you are not free. And that is the problem. These same leaders go and enjoy what is happening outside of their continent, but they can't do it here. We have to stop the pretense and stop talking, because enough of the speech. These leaders know exactly what to do, but they can never do that, because we have this other people interests in Africa, and they are protecting their interests instead of protecting the people that they are leading. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in Africa.